I'm publishing a video game. It's called NekoNecro, and so far it's the best game my name's ever been associated with. Let's talk game design. You'll all know Jay from their smash hit ZX Spectrum style platformer Quackley. It's positively reviewed on Steam, sold modestly well, very comprehensively good, and you should go and buy it. What you might not know is that Quackley was made as a side project inspired by the ongoing development of Reiterate, which is positively reviewed on Steam, has sold modestly well, is very comprehensively good, and you should go and buy it. The key point there is side project, because what Jay was actually doing, and has been doing for about the last 4 years, is this. This, ladies and gentlemen, is NekoNecro. It's a 2D platformer because that's what we're good at and we know it, and it's one of the smoothest and most aesthetically pleasing games I've ever had the pleasure of playing. And what's completely insane is that I get the privilege of publishing it. Like I said, Jay's been at this particular game for about the last 4 years. It was in development when we first became friends, and I remember seeing art from it on Twitter way back when, and thinking, I definitely have to attach myself to this person because they're deeply talented and I can ride that talent to my own selfish fame and fortune. Alright, I didn't, because that'd be horrible and I'm not EA. But it's sort of what I've ended up doing. So let's talk about it. First thing you're going to notice is that NekoNecro is incredibly beautiful. Reason for that is that all of this art, everything you see here, every single pixel of it, was drawn and inked by hand. Jay is an exceptional artist, always has been, and the sheer quality of the hand-drawn artwork in this game should be enough to sell it to you all by itself, because it certainly did for me. For me at least, it brings to mind the crisp black and white art style of the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage comics, but I'm an old man. Many more of you these days probably see the thick black lines in a kind of manga vibe, but if you ask Jay, they'll probably tell you it's inspired by the iconic and influential works of one Jonan Vasquez of Johnny the Homicidal Maniac and Invader Zim. It is dripping, sometimes literally, with fluidity and style, and the whole thing looks like a still image story come to life in a way that I've honestly never seen done anywhere else. But obviously a game's quality is about more than just how good it looks, and you, discerning and intelligent viewer that you are, please like and subscribe, would like to know more about the... NekoNecro is, massive surprise, a 2D platformer. I know the world has a lot of these, but the thing about 2D platformers is that they are evergreen. It's a genre that always has its fans, people who are ready to play a new one that is just good at what it does. I know this because I'm one of those people, and in my time testing and now just playing through NekoNecro, I can give you my word as a bit of an expert, there is an entire devlog series about the fact that I'm a bit of an expert, that it's a pretty incredible one. But why, you ask? Is it because I'm publishing it? Yeah, no. It's because everything that matters in a 2D platformer is here, carefully considered and filed down to a sharp point of efficiency and sometimes even literally dripping with polish. What you'll notice first of all is that fluidity that I keep banging on about, but not just of the graphics, but of the mechanics and the movement as well. Necco is a cute little thing that slides along the ground like they're made from an oil slick, and the liquidic nature of the thing will feel unlike a lot of what you've probably played, but in a very good way. Some modern indie 2D platformers have a tendency to feel very stop-start, like if you plotted their movement trajectory on a graph it'd look like a jagged little mountain range. This is fine for those games, and I'm not here to make value judgments or anything, but it's not the only way. For those of us who grew up in the golden era of the 2D platformer, i.e. the 90s, there's a certain degree of smoothness that gets associated with a good game from that period, whether it's Yoshi's heavy-feeling wobbly-legged floating, Sonic's smooth circular loopy-whooping, which is a technical term, or even the physics of less well-known games like Mickey's Castle of Illusion. A 2D platformer from the 90s comes with a smoothness that some modern retro-inspired indie games sometimes fail to capture. In terms of its momentum and movement, NekoNecro could be a Mega Drive game and it'd fit right in. It would of course be held back from working on that system by its incredible hand-drawn animation, but let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story. Another plus point is just how simple and easy to understand Necco's movements are. You have a jump, a double jump, and something we call a pounce. It is not, as you might initially think, a dash. It is a pounce. Necco is a cat, after all. But the key difference really is that a dash in the modern sense tends to send you rocketing in a straight line and is part of that trend I mentioned earlier about pointy, jagged movement flow. A pounce, on the other hand, will take your forward momentum and apply gravity, so you sort of leap through the air like you'd expect from a cat. Why is this important? Because the challenge in NekoNecro doesn't come from obscenely over-the-top layers and layers of spikes. It comes from understanding momentum. A good 2D platformer has a solid sense of weight to the main character, and you'll feel the tangible solidity of Necco as you learn to control them, sliding and gliding around in a crucially predictable and learnable fashion, and the pounce is a big part of that. You know what else is good for learning how to master the very predictable and satisfying momentum your main character has? There will come a day when I have to make a video about boss fights, because the modern day discourse at large just fails to understand them quite a lot of the time. Short version is this: a good boss fight is like an end of year exam. It takes everything you've been doing and all that you were taught and intelligently tests your ability to replicate it before you carry on. It's a way for the game designer to ask themselves if you, the player, are ready for what's next. NekoNecro has these at the end of every world, and they work exactly like I just mentioned. You take everything you've learned in the previous 10 levels and apply it to a high pressure test before you move on. I won't show you too much because, you know, spoilers, but the boss designs are fantastic across the board, and I promise they are fair, reasonable, doable and satisfying to beat, because if they weren't, Jay and I would have argued over them. Having said that, it doesn't necessarily matter how good they are, because when it comes to progression, you have... If you feel like it, you don't have to beat every level one after the other in a linear fashion. You can swoosh around the 5 varied and diverse worlds and visit the 100 levels entirely out of order if you want. Have you ever had that feeling in a game where you just get stuck on one particular bit and no matter what you do, your brain just won't cooperate and let you get over it? And then you go away for a bit, you play something else, come back later and you just kind of one-shot it without an issue? In NekoNecro, you can do that without having to go away. You can just pop into a different level, try something else, and the freedom of choice is yours. And while we're on the subject of things Jay has designed to make things better for you, let's talk about... It is a large and positive talking point in game development these days, as it should be, and what Jay has done here is, I think, pretty comprehensive in terms of aids that will help you out. If you've watched my Reiterate devlog series, go and watch my Reiterate devlog series, you'll know that I got very annoyed at hearing 2 things. 1, have you played Celeste? And 2, does your game have coyote time in it? Quick Cliff Notes summary for anyone who somehow doesn't know: coyote time is a term for the extra leniency you get when running off a platform for your jump to still register. There are set values in most games, and it's something that helps slower or less reactive players to time their jumps a little bit easier. Jay has gone a step beyond and will let you set your own coyote time timer. You can now get up to half a second's worth of coyote time if you want, to help you set your own level of comfort and challenge. And since we're letting you set that, we might as well also include game speed. I have experience in using game speed adjustments as a catch-all accessibility aid, because I put a dedicated button for it into Reiterate, and in NekoNecro you can slow down the entire game in 10% increments all the way down to half speed. So if there's a reactionary little bit that you're stuck on, pop into the accessibility menu and pull that down until you're through that one level, or leave the whole thing on 80%, or whatever you like really, up to you. That's the point. Same with the visual filters. Obviously the game is monochrome, but some of you might struggle to see that clearly for whatever reason, so Jay's gone ahead and thought about that, and given you all these lovely visual filters to hopefully work around whatever issues you're having, because Jay is a lovely person who tries to think about everything. Don't know why they're coming to me as a publisher, because I'm a grumpy old hermit who lives in a cave and throws rocks at people. But you know, here we are. There is so much more for you to discover about NekoNecro, like the optional milk cartons you can collect for an added challenge, or the hand-drawn graphic novel cutscenes. But I don't want to oversell it, because I still think just looking at the game itself in motion would be enough for you all to go, oh my god Zane, I need to wishlist this game on Steam now. So, you know, go and wishlist this game on Steam now. That's it, that's the point. Go do that. Do it now. Go on. And then once you've done that, if you've liked this video, then make sure to like this video so I know you liked the video, and then subscribe for more videos like the video you just liked since you liked it, and I will see you the next time I'm thinking, hey, let's talk game design.